Hey all, welcome to Camoandplaid. I'm David and I thank you for joining us today. If you haven't noticed, I like small guns that are controllable yet pack a punch. And with that, I also want to be able to get the best bang for the buck. And I don't want to spend more money than I have to. I literally want to get as much gun as I can. I want a high-functioning, compact firearm I can use to defend myself and those whom I love. And I want to be able to take it literally everywhere and supply more punch than what just my normal EDC or self-defense gun can provide. So with that, I want to introduce you, people of the YouTubes, to the Foxtrot Project. Project Foxtrot version 1. That's what I want to do. I want you to know of Project Foxtrot version 1. So, if you haven't figured it out yet, I have been thoroughly impressed by the Foxtrot Mike operating system, this little direct impingement system that uses a truncated BCG, a spring with a guide rod for a recoil system, and a front charging handle that uses just a push rod system that combined keeps everything super small and allows for a low reciprocating bolt mass. So, I love it. It's super small, and that's super awesome. So I was really hoping we would see this year a 300 blackout pistol from somebody. That would be nice and inexpensive, yet compact, that people could use for some self-defenses. But, well, it didn't happen. So I set out to do it myself. So before we start, first, let me just say that I have assembled a fair number of ARs in my day, so if you don't know what you're doing, this may not be the direction that you want to go. Obviously, don't do anything that you are not qualified to do, and don't do anything, and everything you do it at your own risk. Yes, that's all that mumbo-jumbo from people who sue each other. Whatevs. Don't do stupid things. Don't hurt yourself. That's what I got to say. So, now that all that is out of the way, let's say this simple thing, that ARs are pretty awesome in that they're very easy to work on, and there are literally a million parts out there that we can use. But when you get into any of the short buffering systems, they all have some type of a proprietary part, and each one has its shortcomings. So with that in mind, I set out to build a 300 blackout Foxtrot, knowing that the proprietary Foxtrot stuff may not sync up with what's currently available in 300 blackout. And ever since the 9-inch FM-15 came out, my 11.25-inch FM-15 has been sitting in the corner sulking for not getting really any use. So it became my first victim. I knew I wanted a 6-inch to a 7.5-inch barrel on this bad boy. And so that's where I started. Most of the 6 to 6.5-inch barrels were sold out. And the ones that weren't sold out were upwards of $200, $250, $300, and that's more than what I want to cost, right? Since I don't want to pay CMMG or Maxim or SIG prices, those were out of the question for this build. So I started looking at 7.5-inch barrels, since those are plentiful. I personally have a 7.5-inch PSA, but I decided not to cannibalize that many guns at once, so I opted to utilize an Anderson barrel, which came out to about $110 shipped with a pistol length gas tube. I had a Combat Armory 7.5 gas block sitting around, so I used that as well. The Anderson barrels can be purchased directly from Anderson, which is nice. Or I had one, I think I got it from Right to Bear, and I think that was the least expensive one that I saw from Anderson. There were a couple other cheaper ones, but it was the one that looked like the best level of price and quality. So I, of course, realized that I still needed to use the handguard, and so with the length of the barrel that is on here, I took the one off of my 9-inch and I put it on this guy. And then I took my 11-inch handguard and put it on the 9-inch. And so that way it's super close in length. And so it worked out perfectly. And you need this because you need the charging handle on it. It's what works with their proprietary BCG. So that's important. Looking at it, it looks like with the handguard, at least with the 7.5-inch, with the 9-inch handguard, you can take it down to take this first M-lock rail off, right, all the way down without having to really take away any of the capabilities of this thing, of this handguard. And so, because you can see right there where that goes to, so you just need that first nub there. But you'll be able to cut off some more length from this build. So in addition with that to that, once you take off the handguards or look at your handguards, you're going to need to take off the barrel nut, and the barrel nuts are Loctited, so you're going to need some heat. It's red Loctite, but it came off pretty simple once I added heat. And then you get into the other issues with proprietary stuff is that this barrel nut is built for Foxtrot barrels, and they're cut in a specific way for Foxtrot. It's what makes them so super accurate, but that does cause some troubles when you're trying to play with other people's stuff. So with the Anderson barrel, it is a government profile barrel, and that barrel nut was not a fan of the government profile barrel. So this collar that is at the front of a government profile barrel has to be brought down so that that barrel nut will fit over it. Now, once that happens, you can slip that bad boy over and it will function with this barrel just fine. So what I did was I took a belt sander and we belt sanded that bad boy down to the right size to where it would fit over, and now it works just fine. No issues, of course, installing the gas block and the gas tube. But one thing that you will need to do is you will have to install the gas tube in the gas block prior to putting it on, just because the fitment in between the gas tube and their very long barrel nut makes it just, it's what you're going to have to do. It's not unusual. It's just what has to be done. So I know that sometimes like I can just push the gas tube into there and then bring it back out to my gas block after the fact, but you can't do that with this. So that being said, have that plan. Those are some of the things that you'll have to do to get it to fit out. And now once you get everything put together, then make sure that you don't over tighten the screws on this handguard, because it will cause some binding if it's too tight. Just make sure that it's tightened down to the appropriate level. Pretty much once it gets tight, leave it there. Any tighter than that, it starts to flex this a little bit more than it needs to because of the way that these things index. They're a great system, but just make sure you don't over tighten them. All right. But yeah, once it's all put back together, then guess what we get to do? We get to go out and shoot it. So that's what I did. And I will tell you, once I was all finished, I put 20 rounds to start with of VMAX 110 grainers through her. On round 17, I had a failure to eject. And so I had some brass just sideways in there. It still was going ahead and chambering the next round. So once I removed that, it just closed forward and it was ready to go. Fired the next 3 rounds. Then I went ahead and put just this cheap Vortex on there. I think it's the Crossfire, so it's a 2 MOA dot. Zeroed it with the 110s because that's what I plan on running in it. And then fired 17 more rounds of that. And then switched to the 145 grain Barnaul. So that's a steel cased 145 grain. It loved that. So fired a total of 120 rounds of the Barnaul through the day, along with another 13 rounds of 150 grain FMJ brass case from American Marksman. They're reloads, but they're quality reloads, so I've never had any issues with any of those rounds, and this bad boy didn't either. I did try 5 rounds of 220 grains of Sonics from S&B. I had no plan on them functioning in this. They were close, like they were right on the verge in between rounds 1. So round 1 I had to cycle it, and then 2 and 3 it cycled. So I was like, ooh, sweet, that's cool, it might work. And then 4 and 5 did not. So it's right there. It's still ejecting the rounds fully. It's just not enough pushing the BCG far enough back to pick up the next one. So obviously in the future, my plan is to add an adjustable gas block to it, so that way we can see if we can get it to run reliably with both supers and subs. I'm planning on also moving to a 6-inch ballistic advantage barrel. That's the where I wanted to go. I wanted to make sure that this was going to be a viable thing first before I went any further. But I did find a 6-inch from one of the companies supposedly available, so we'll see if it actually ships out. But that's the plan for the next build. As long as there's time and money allow, we will do a version 2 of this. Like I said, I plan on cutting this down, but that'll have to wait till I get another 9-inch handguard. As of right now, I don't think you can buy any of the parts by themselves. You have to buy a complete upper. But the 9-inch uppers right now are on sale for, I think, $4.55 at Atlantic, and or maybe it was AIM or Primary Arms. Those are the 3 places that I've been looking at them at. There's a couple others, but those have been reliably the least expensive. A full gun is $6.55 for the 9-inch from Atlantic. I may end up doing that just so that I can get a little bit shorter. I think essentially you take off this because the Picatinny rail is actually built into the lower that comes with the newer Foxtrots, and so that'll shave off another 1/2 inch. And then once we get rid of either this and even shorter, then right now this is sitting at 16.75 inches, and I think once we get rid of that, we're going to be just under 15. So that's pretty awesome. We're getting down there. It'll fit in just about every bag. I'd like to get this small enough to fit into one of the Victos small CCW bags. And that's the whole point, right? Make this as small as I can. We've already shaved 1.5 inches with this build, and then once we get the 6-inch, we're down 3 inches. So a nice small PDW that will run 110 grain pills, right? So something moving at 2,000 feet per second and packing 110 grains of power. So that would be great. That's the whole point of this. So this should be a formidable PDW for $700 sand sight and such, and fit your favorite backpack. So obviously we're still early in the reliability area, as we are only 175 rounds in, but I was pleasantly surprised that everything was playing well together. Again, ARs are fairly simple weapons, and these are, off-the-shelf components that can easily put together. But anyways, it's fun to tinker. So thanks for watching. If you would like to see all the rounds fired, I will add that video here at the end so you can see it does function. It is a cool little PDW. And, thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any ideas or any improvements that you would make, or anything that you'd like to see added on there that you think would be helpful. All right. Thanks, guys. So far, so good. That's a good sign. Oh, killed it. Happens. Ready to extract. Far left side. far right side, I mean?
Can't tell.
Okay.
Which one are you shooting?
The bottom one there.
Yes.
Here, go grab me the binos, would you? Just so I can see.
So you're shooting this target?
This one right here up front.
The one that's closer to us?
Yep.
Okay.
That'll let your hand now. Woohoo! Have to move that back some more. Not sure how to do that.
Oh, move your handle?
Uh-huh. Oh, good. I went like to the extreme opposite side. Try that.
You want me to turn the camera off?
Boop. We'll take it with us. We'll see what happened. Doesn't look too shabby, huh? You see it? Boop. So those are our last 3 rounds. I think we're just at 25, so we'll do 2 more just so you can see what a 5-shot group looks like at 25 yards, and then we'll shoot it at 50 and see what happens. All right?
Sometimes it works with my gloves.
Yeah. All right, 20 more rounds of Barnall. rounds of the 145 grain Barnaul. Sometime. All right, we're continuing with that 20. So, still going. All right, 20 more rounds, Barnaul. Nope. Another 20 rounds of 145 grain Barnaul. Missed him. Moving around so much. Good?
Yep.
So this is going to be 150 grain, just think American ammunition reloads probably. She definitely makes Dwarfy jump, huh? Oh boy. All right. That's okay. So we're gonna be running some 200 and that's all. 200 grain sailor and below, whatever you call them. 300 AACs through the FM with the Anderson barrel. Yeah. Well, that time we got 2 rounds. And you can feel it's going to be a little light, so definitely is going to need an adjustable gas block. To run the subsonic. All right.
Yes.
All right. 145 grain Barnaul. All right, would you go in the car and grab me a box of the Barnaul 150 grains? they will probably be in the blue and gray backpack. They'll be like a black box, blue and gray backpack. Let's go take a look. So I'm just holding the middle of the paper, so it'll be a question of me probably more than anything else, but there you go. There's that one. You can see there was a flyer, but that was me. Looks like 6 rounds here. So but again, it's not the gun, it's just me, but it's working. So we'll keep working on it and see what happens.